Today we are doing circumference and perimeter. Circumference is really just a fancy way of saying finding the perimeter of a circle. So that's all it is. Circumference equals perimeter when you're talking about a circle. Now this first diagram here is a bunch of different names that you need to know about circles. So here for the first box, a circle with a center O. So O for origin at the center there has a diameter of AB. Diameter is going from one side of the circle through the center to the other side. That's a diameter. A circle with a radius of OA. So radius means from the center to an edge. That's a radius in there. We also have another radius here from O to B. They would be equal in length because the radius is equal everywhere around that circle. 3 concentric circles with a center of O. Concentric circles are circles that share the same center, but they have a different radius, so they're different size circles coming out here. A and B are points on the circumference. So the circumference is the distance or the perimeter of a circle. Okay, now if I was trying to find the length of just a little bit between A and B, we would call that an arc. So it's not the full circumference, it's only part of it. It's an arc. A sector is a piece of the circle that we cut out like a piece of pizza. So it's from the center, 2 radiuses coming out. It can be very big sectors or very small. They're still called sectors. All right, next word. A chord is a line going from one side of the circle to the other. Remember that we had the diameter that had to go through the center. A chord doesn't have to go through the center. It's just anywhere from one side of the circle to the other. Now, chords make segments. So here is a chord that's drawn here, and it's cut the circle into 2 parts. The smaller part we call the minor segment, and the large part of the circle we call the major segment. Now this last one, which is also a sector by the way, because it is a type of piece of pizza, it's just quite a large piece, but it's exactly a quarter of a circle, which we call a quadrant. So, label the circle below with the parts mentioned on the previous page. Okay, let's have a think. The first one was a diameter. So we need a center of our circle. So we call that O. And we're going to draw a line going all the way from one side of the circle through to the other, preferably with a ruler. That is called a diameter. Okay, then we had a radius, which is just from the center out to the edge. We had, let's have a look back up here. What else did we need to do? Done the diameter, done the radius. I'm not going to do the concentric circles as we only have one circle in our one. Circumference is the whole way around. Let's do an arc though. So an arc would be from here to here, just the length of that part of the circle. That's an arc. This part here that is cut off is called a sector. Okay, what else? We've got, if I draw a line from one side to the other that doesn't go through the center, we call that a chord. And the 2 parts that are cut off by that chord, so this part in here is the minor segment, and the big part on this side, looks a bit messy now, is the major segment. Okay, I'm just checking back to see if I missed any. Oh, I didn't do the quadrant either. I think we've run out of room on our diagram. Okay, so I need to quickly fix these symbols in here. I'm sure they'll be fine in your booklet. That P has been changed by one note. They should be pi's. So we now want to find the circumference of some circles, which again, remember, is just the perimeter of the circle. We have two formulas. C equals 2 pi r if we're given r for the radius, or C equals pi d if we're given d for diameter. So look at the question and see what you've been given to work out which formula to use. So, question 1. Find the circumference of these shapes. We have got the whole way across the circle, which is a diameter. So I want you to always write the formula down first because you need to practice using these formulas. So C equals pi d. Next step is to sub in our value. Our diameter is 24. So we have pi times 24. Excuse me. So, type that in your calculator. Pi times 24 is 75.40 if I round that. It would be centimeters. Okay, question 2. This question only gives us the radius from the center out, so we want to use this top formula. C equals 2 pi r. Sorry about the little coughing. So, summing in, my radius is 5. So I have 2 pi times 5 in the calculator. 31.42 meters. Okay, they are for whole circles. Most of your questions will be whole circles. But if we have part of a circle, all we do is put what fraction of the circle we have at the front of our formula. So this circle here, this is a semicircle, which is half of a circle. So we're going to C for circumference, half, because it's half of a circle. And this 10 is a diameter. So I want to use the pi d formula. So second step, sub in the d, half times pi times the diameter, which is 10, in the calculator. So that's 15.71. Part B, we have a quarter of a circle. So we put a quarter in front of our formula. Now this is a radius because this would be the center of the circle here and the rest of the circle would go around. So the radius formula was 2 pi r. Second step, sub in the radius, which is 20. And in the calculator. Pi button down there. Okay, so that's 31.42. And that's in centimeters. Last question. A scooter tire has a diameter of 32. What is the perimeter of the tire? So it's just a perimeter or circumference question. It just hasn't given us the diagram. Now a tire is obviously a circle or a wheel. The diameter is 32. So that means we want to use the diameter formula, C equals pi d, and sub in that d is 32. So pi times 32 in the formula. So that's 100.53 centimeters. Okay, that is it for me. So the first couple of pages of your practice is whole circles. So just make sure you get the right formula. And then we get into some trickier stuff after that. So good luck. Make sure you do the work.